Battlefield 2042 has now formally released for everyone, and in this video today I wanted to cover a couple of specialists that I think are the best in the game right now, and some of the builds and setups that you can utilize to have a ball of a time with them. There are some setups in 2042 with specialists that just work better than others, and some of them can do some pretty crazy things that can make big differences as to whether or not an objective is captured or not, and whether or not a certain tank or helicopter gets knocked out or not. Now before we begin today's video, I have a really cool competition with WD Black that I'm running at the moment. Now if you didn't know it already, WD Black has actually partnered up with Battlefield to provide brand new Gen 4 SSDs with codes of Battlefield 2042. And there'll be a link in the description below if you want to check these out. And they sent me over some of these drives, the WD Black SN750 SE NVMe SSD drives, which all feature copies of Battlefield 2042 bundled with the drives. Now if you want an opportunity to win one of these Gen 4 SSDs as well as a copy of Battlefield 2042, then head on over to the links in the description below. You can check out the drives, but you can also check out the competition I'm running on both Twitter and Facebook, where the most creative kill in any Battlefield title will be crowned the winner and given one of these SSDs with a copy of 2042. The clip you send me can be any cool kill that you have achieved in the past in any previous Battlefield or in 2042, and the winner will get themselves a 500GB NVMe Gen 4 drive as well as a full code to the game. So big shout out to WD Black for partnering up with me on this one, and definitely go check out their SSD bundle drive if you're looking to buy Battlefield 2042. You can get some SSD storage space with a super fast Gen 4 drive as well as getting yourself a game bundle. Now let's talk specialists. There are some really good specialists in Battlefield 2042, and the first and foremost one has got to be Sundance. If you're somebody who's interested in high-octane gameplay, the ability to knock out vehicles really quickly, or somebody who really enjoys back rages in Battlefield, then this is going to be the operator for you. Now in Battlefield 2042, Sundance has a wingsuit, which means that you can get across the map really quickly, fairly undetected, and not really make a lot of noise. Whilst parachutes in Battlefield 2042 can be super obvious, the wingsuit really isn't, and it allows you to get in behind enemy positions so long as you jump off from a height or bail out of a helicopter or aerial vehicle. This is a really great way to get behind enemy lines, drop an insertion beacon for your squad mates, or, my personal favourite way, use this entire piece of equipment like a tiny predator drone. You can effectively swoop in on various tanks and vehicles with C5, drop the explosives on them, and suddenly you've got one less vehicle in the game to worry about. And if you manage to get super talented with the wingsuit, you can even use C5 to knock out aerial vehicles, or get super good with the recoilless rocket launcher or the lock-on anti-armor grenade that Sundance also has to utilize it against various different types of vehicles. This is a really effective loadout, whether you're just somebody who wants to get behind enemy lines, drop lots of kills, and maybe get some insertion beacons up, or if you're somebody who solely focuses on taking out as many vehicles as they can. There's a lot of fun to be had with Sundance. And again, all you need is something as simple as a height in order to move across the map really quickly. For all of the specialists I mentioned today, I highly recommend using the PP29, as it has a massive magazine count and can dump on a lot of enemies really quickly. I also highly recommend the SCAR, which allows you to have an underbarrel anti-armor grenade launcher attachment, which can be useful for finishing off opponents, or maybe taking somebody who's not traditionally an anti-armor specialist and giving them an extra bonus that they didn't have before. Next up for me has got to be Cassper. Cassper is a really interesting specialist, but when you combine C5 and a drone together, you get a lot of fun. Now, as somebody who's played a lot of squad in the past where using drones or UAV drones as a way of taking out armor has been super effective, you can imagine my surprise when I saw it possible with Cassper in 2042. And the system is very simple. You take Casper's drone, which is traditionally used for spotting and even EMP jamming certain vehicles and equipment, and you throw some C5 on it. Now, you can actually do this solo or with a friend. If you do it with a friend, you might be able to get some of those split decision moments a little bit more finely, but you can definitely do it solo. Just throw some C5 on the drone, let the drone take a spin towards the closest vehicle, and detonate the drone, killing every vehicle in the proximity. This can also be super effective against clusters of infantry and can get you a lot of kills in a very short space of time. Cassper also features a movement sensor which lights up red on the compass whenever an enemy is sprinting towards their location. It means that you can identify threats coming from different directions around you much easier in game, which is super handy if you're infantry on the ground. Now, whilst Cassper definitely doesn't have the most incredible piece of equipment, when combining a C5 drone and the movement sensor, you get a really varied operator that's both good at infantry combat and also good at taking out vehicles. The drone, of course, as well can be used for any kind of intel basis, allowing you to understand where enemies are on the map or where enemies are on an individual objective, which may prevent you from getting taken out from a corner or somebody camping in a specific location. The next specialist is definitely Dozer. Dozer is a fantastic option for people who like playing super aggressive in 2042. When there are 64 players on the enemy team, it means you're going to get shot at quite a lot, so having a specialist that can absorb those bullets and even blast radius explosions is super handy. You can use Dozer as a way to peek corners that were too risky to peek without cover, or even use Dozer as a way to madly push into objectives and secure capture points. The final one for me is Navin. Now, Navin is a little bit finicky, and I don't really know if he's one of the best specialists in the game, but I think he was a worthwhile mention for this video. Now, he has the hacking suite, which is an ability to hack into various surroundings and also different vehicles around you. And there are moments where this is super special, because Navin can actually prevent aerial vehicles from firing off their flares. And if you combine that with an anti-aircraft launcher, you get a very disgusting experience that probably should be patched and probably isn't very balanced. But effectively, you can disable a helicopter from popping flares, and then continue to spam them with anti-aircraft rockets. Now, again, I imagine this might get balanced in the future, or some changes might be made to Navin, but it was a worthwhile mention. It should be noted though that the hacking suite can take a little while to lock on, and you have to maintain visual contact with the vehicle in around a 300 to 400 meter radius. You'll probably notice a little bit more failure than successes with Navin when it comes to using the hacking suite, but if you happen to be somebody who has an avid hatred for aerial vehicles or helicopters in any given Battlefield game, then this is probably the closest you can get to trolling a helicopter in a Battlefield title. So folks, that's it for my recommendations on specialists to use around the launch of 2042. Again, feel free to check out that competition from WD Black. It's a really great opportunity. It's a great way for me to be able to give you guys some SSDs and some game codes. And if you are interested in picking up 2042, it's a good value saving option in the sense that if you're looking for storage for your PC or possibly even a console, and you're also looking for the ability to get 2042, you can kind of take out two birds with one stone. So something to consider and something that I thought would be really cool. A huge shout out to the guys over at WD Black for supporting the channel. And as always folks, we're on the road to 100k. Leave a sub and I'll catch you again in the next one.